basically we've tried to give you a flavor of Goa in that thali, which involves the most popular dishes from the other religions as well as predominantly Hindu food. Goa has always been essentially a place of absolute
communal harmony. Puti Gadi.
Or it is also known as theeval here in Goan.
Theeval. A lot of new words for me to learn here. So please forgive me if I pronounce them wrongly. My heart's in the right place, but my tongue might have some trouble getting there. Ambot theek. Ambot is the sour and theek is basically spicy. That mackerel curry that has as one of its principal ingredients the theeval. This certainly is a curry that seems to pack a little more punch. And this is certainly the sort of curry that I suspect any fish-loving Goan would approve of. One of the places that people said I should dine at is Kokni Kanteen. And what really intrigued me about the place is the year it was established, 1972. That's the year I was born. Are you connected with Kokni Kanteen?
Yeah, I own the place.
Oh, lovely to meet you.
Hi.
Girish.
I think Manisha used to.
Yes.
It's not since 1970.
Oh, it is not.
This has been about a 7-year-old, but this place has got a history in terms of the food which is involved, in terms of what the food was being served there.
Huh.
So that's the way we have carried on that legacy. During the Portuguese rule, I have been told that this was a place which was known as Brahmani, which is a place where people used to come from the villages and have food and go.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we have been doing. So maybe the tradition is being carried on, and what we are doing is very simple Goan household food is what we do. Saraswat food.
Saraswat food. So in Goa there are different kinds of food.
Hindu food, Catholic food. That's
Hindu
it.
food, Catholic food.
There are variations in terms of the spice levels here, there. So in terms of every household, like for example, during a festival, if you go, then you would have the same dish being prepared in all the Hindu houses, but each will be tasting slightly different because of the spice levels being used, and what we so-called say authentic. It's more traditional than authentic.
That's right. Authentic is relative to one's.
Yes, because what my mother gave me is authentic to me. What your mother gave you
Absolutely.
is authentic.
And I think Girish brings a very important point. We all talk about authenticity in food, but I think what's important are the traditions, because authentic tastes and flavors can vary even within a community, within homes in the community,
yes, absolutely,
depending on the palates of the members of the family. And I think that's interesting. So you're carrying forward that tradition that this building stood for.
Yes. It's the Paili.
Okay.
Which has been from my household from the 50s. This was used as a measuring equipment. So this was not in kgs first here. The rice
Sair.
and all would be sair, all these types. This was known as a paili in Goan language. Paili.
Okay.
Hello sir.
How are you doing? Nice to meet you. Well, this is Kokni Kanteen. Kokni, of course, refers to the language.
Yes, yes. When you say Konkan region, it comes all the way from all the coastal region of Maharashtra, your Malvar, Vengurla, all those people. They say Konkan region. But when you specifically say Kokni, Kokno is very synonymous with Goan culture.
So Kokno refers to the culture, refers to the food.
Yeah,
Kokni. Ah, that's something new that I learned today. So who are the people who come and eat here?
There are a lot of tourists. Over a period of time, tourists have increased, but we have had our share of locals who come here, especially on Sundays, come with their families. Because Sundays we do tend to have a special thali which is called
That is a thali there.
That's a traditional Goan
thali. And in a Goan thali, the kingfish is standard, huh?
Not necessarily. Kingfish is one of the most accepted fish which has got that value, at the same time has got the taste. But if you ask me as an individual, as a Goan, I would go for the smallest of the fish because
the
it's
sardine.
No, there are a lot of varieties. We itself keep around 20-27 varieties here.
Okay.
And for the day, you might not get that tomorrow if it's not available in the market.
So who goes to the market?
Fish part, I do it myself.
Oh, you do it yourself?
Yeah.
Can we take a look at your kitchen? Come.
This is the way our thali is set up.
Oh, okay. What makes a Goan thali?
So that's the prawn curry firstly.
Okay.
Then all the others are, like if you take the thali here,
That's a kokum.
that's the kokum's footy curry, which we call.
Footy curry?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Footy curry is essentially a curry without the coconut milk.
Without coconut milk. So that is soul curry, no? With coconut milk.
Yeah.
And then this is a kismur.
Yeah, that's a
Dried
dry
shrimp.
prawn kismar.
One vegetable, then we have a gravy. This is that dry prawns ka sukha type we make.
Oh, dry prawns.
Yeah.
So you rehydrate the prawns and then make this dish.
Yes. It is that ambotik which we make.
Oh, that is the sour and spicy.
Tangy
sweet.
curry. Tangy.
Ambot is sour. So the sour comes from kokum.
Comes from vinegar.
From vinegar.
Yeah. We use the palm vinegar.
Palm vinegar.
Only during the preparation we put a little bit of kokum.
While you're preparing the gravy.
So the vinegar goes in the masala.
In the masala. Okay.
Masala is totally ground with
Ground with
vinegar. There is no water.
Oh, there's
used
no
in that.
water. So it's similar to a reshad.
Yes, it's the same masala. It's the reshado masala which we thin it up and make it into this gravy.
Oh, so it's a reshad masala that gets thinned and then the amboti comes out of it. So the reshad is Goan Portuguese, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, we've tried to give you a flavor of Goa in that thali, which involves the most popular dishes from the other religions, as well as predominantly Hindu food. Ambotik is made in Goan Hindu homes and Catholic homes also. Goa has always been essentially a place of absolute
Communal
harmony. So it's not that this is mine and that is. The ways of preparations of food in the families have differed, but the basic difference between Hindu and Catholic cuisine would be the use of vinegar in a Catholic against use of imli in Hindu.
We use tamarind in the
Yeah.
Tamarind
Hindus
use.
make
Yeah.
it, then we will use tamarind for the
Tamarind.
sourness.
Not kokum.
No, kokum also is
Kokum is also
used.
there while we prepare, but for the
Tamarind is
gravy,
mostly.
tamarind is used instead of vinegar.
That's very nice. This is the fish curry.
The kingfish curry we have.
What do you call kingfish in Kokni?
Viswon,
Viswon.
Yeah.
What is the base of this curry?
Coconut.
Coconut.
coriander,
And do you have green chilies in this?
no.
So where do you get the heat from?
It is from the red chili. Another curry also which is slightly different, that is for the bangda curry which we have.
Bangda
That
curry.
is-
For that, we tend to use a berry called treffer.
Ah, tepal.
Yeah. There are two types of curries. One is a yellow curry and one is a red curry. The yellow curry is for the non-oily fish, whereas the red curry is used predominantly for the oily fish like sardines, mackerels and all those things. Because it's got a peculiar fragrance of its skin, which is cut off by using something called as the teffer, which is a berry.
Correct, that's
So
right.
that cuts off that fishy smell into that, and it is also use of a ginger in that curry. Cuts off the fish smell,
That's
which
right.
is not very acceptable to people of that kind of fish.
That's right. You know, that's the interesting thing with ingredients, right? Ingredients vary depending on the main ingredient. So let's say when you use something like the mackerel, which is quite oily in its characters and has those very strong fishy flavors, that's where they use ingredients like tepal. If you're tasting a Goan mackerel curry and you bite into an ingredient that suddenly seems to sting and numb your taste buds for a few moments, well, that's tepal. Huh?
These are all the fishes that we have.
Okay.
Now in this we can give you in various gravies. You get rava fry in that, you get reshado depending upon your likes. We have a menu set for the week. So we don't repeat the same thing.
So our thali is here. Kalunda rava fry. Verlo, that is a silver fish. What are these?
Now this is the bangda curry.
The bangda
which we
curry.
have.
Okay.
Then we have, there's another curry which we make, that is the uddamethi. It's got a flavor of methi. So it's called uddamethi.
Uddamethi. And this is again with the mackerel.
Yes.
And then what is this here?
This is veg roce which we call. This goes into a veg thali.
A veg roast. And again you have the, is this
Yes.
Tefla again.
Tefla again.
tefla again, okay.
Then
Which is-
that is the masala which we have in the veg thali again. Along with the vegetable. That is called the tonak. This normally goes with the veg thali.
Footy gadi.
Or it is also known as theeval here in Goan.
Tiwal. A lot of new words for me to learn here. This is the footy gadi or the tiwal. There's a certain earthiness to that sour note. Huh? Oh, that's delicious. And I think that's also what's gone into my kokum.
This is made out of syrup, which is sweetened. Whereas that what you had was made out of kokum agar.
Agar,
Which is
concentrate.
Concentrate of the kokum.
Ah, fantastic. Can I get one more katori of this?
Yeah, sure.
I think we should probably make a beginning with the Kingfish rava fry. So this is a fish, the viswon, that the Goans love, I'm told. What I like is that rava coating is just enough to contain the masala within the fish. You know, sometimes when you're tasting a rava fried fish, that rava can get in the way of your enjoyment of that fish. You're not really tasting the flavor of the fish as much, you're not really tasting the masala as much, but out here I'm also tasting some of the heat that comes from the masala. Do some steamed rice, and I think we've got plenty of our curries here that we should be tasting. I think we'll make a beginning with the Kingfish curry itself, the viswon curry. Thank you. Oh, I got another glass of the theeval or the putti curry. Plenty of coriander that's floating on top. I can also register some of that spice, some green chilies, as that theeval slithers down my throat. Let's get to that viswon curry. It's a curry that's rather mild. I can taste a hint of sourness in that curry somewhere that I suspect comes from some tamarind. So I find that the chili in this registers rather mildly on the palate. So you're tasting a bit of the balance that comes from the sour and a bit of the heat. But all that is cocooned in the fleshy, coconutty consistency of that curry. This is the ambot theek. Ambot is the sour and theek is basically spicy. So this should be an interesting spicy flavor bomb. You can see some garlic in there. Why do I taste a certain sweetness in this?
Put a little bit of sugar. Go for an a la carte, it's more of sour. We don't add sugar. For the a la carte, we use jaggery instead. So here it is a little sweetish.
So this is a little different from what I expected to taste in an amboti. The flavors are such that are sweet on the palate. Is that what typical Goans would eat?
Not really.
Not really.
They prefer spicy.
So I'm told when they began Kokni Kanteen about 7 years ago, I think most of the customers here were locals, but with time, most of the customers that visit here are tourists, and they've tweaked flavors to accommodate the taste of those who travel from outside. And I suspect this ambertique that I'm tasting is certainly one of that. I think let's move now to that bangda curry, the mackerel curry, that has as one of its principal ingredients the theeval. This certainly is a curry that seems to pack a little more punch. There's a tiny mackerel tail. I bit into a sliver of ginger there, and this is certainly the sort of curry that I suspect any fish-loving Goan would approve of. The curry before this I found a little too sweet for my palate, because I'm told they tweak it to suit the overall flavor profiles of the visitors who come here. But this mackerel curry is rather punchy in its flavors. It's a great blend of sour, of the heat. What chilies do you use in this cooking here?
The Goan herbal chili.
Herbal chili. Oh, I can feel the heat of the chili at the back of my throat. And that's the theeval. As you bite on it, it almost numbs the tip of your tongue, and it has a very citrusy, lemony sort of a flavor, quite similar to that of Sichuan peppercorns. So it releases its oils as you bite into it, and it's slightly citrusy, slightly peppery, and slightly cooling too, in an interesting sort of fashion. So out here when you come, you get the thali, and then you can order some of the other dishes a la carte. So because I wanted to taste some of the flavors, I've ordered some of the curries separately. In addition to the ambot and the viswon curry that comes along with your thali, that coconut curry, I've ordered for the bangda curry and now the uddamethi. So uddamethi is basically a combination of the urad dal and fenugreek that's ground together. And of course there's a bangude. I love the flavor of that methi.
That you have it with rice.
Correct, because by itself that can be a little bitterish, but I love the flavor that this uddamethi brings to your palate. What's interesting among the 4 curries that I've tasted is that each one has been very different. So for instance,
That is not a curry. Accompaniment. You like how you have the sabzi or that gal.
So basically the ambertique is almost like a condiment of sorts that you have along with your curries. They don't classify it as a curry, but of course to somebody who comes here and you say, okay fine, there's some fish in it. So what I like is the flavor profiles of the various accompaniments. So out here, of course, I found a slight sweetness in that, a tad disconcerting, but there are people who may appreciate it. So you've got that slightly sourish sweet sort of flavor along with the chili heat. This was brimming with the freshness that comes from the coconut, and that's really the flavor that you could taste with a bit of the spice, bit of the gentle heat. When it came to the bangda curry, I think it's the flavor of the theeval that seeps into that curry quite slowly as it rests for a period of time, and also the heat that comes from the local Goan chili and the beautiful color of the dish that comes from the Kashmiri chili. In the uddamethi, it's basically the combination of the urad dal and the fenugreek seeds that are ground together. That convey a very different, slightly bitter sort of an edge flavor to your palate. I think mackerel by itself has very strong flavors, and I think that fenugreek seed helps tone down some of those flavors. Also, I suspect this fish has been prepared for a while and soaked that curry. I think a good fish curry is one where the fish has had ample opportunity to rest in that curry. I think we should now go for that kalandur, which I'm told is the Goan version of the pearl spot, or what is popularly known in Kerala as a curry mean, but this is not caught in the rivers. This is caught in the sea. That masala is very different from the masala that coats the rava fried kingfish. Out here that masala has a lot more punch. What's nice also is that the punchy masala works well because this fish is quite thick in its fleshiness. You need a bit more than masala punch, whether it's the heat, whether it's a bit of that sourness that comes from the tamarind, or the pungency that comes from some ginger garlic to complement the fish well. You know, even as I've finished the uddamethi, after that mackerel curry, I can still taste the tingling sensation of that theeval. There's that solitary theeval berry that I bit into. I can still feel its tingling sensation on the tip of my tongue. So this is the roce veg gravy, I'm told, with some okra, plenty of coconut in that. You can see that in the grainy consistency of the curry. Again, there's a tinge of sweetness here in this. You can taste the graininess of the coconut too in this curry, in the ladyfinger roast curry. I think, speaking of the vegetables, I think we should taste next some of the pumpkin. Pumpkin, peas, coconut, turmeric. So if you have a vegetarian who's coming here, well, you have dishes like that bhopla or the pumpkin, you have the vegetable roast, albeit slightly sweet on your palate. I think what I need to now do is go for some of that kismur. What's interesting about the kismur that I'm tasting here is that there's a certain smokiness to the kismur. And that smokiness wafts through your palate the moment you place that kismur in your mouth. And another version of the kismur is the galmo. That packs that pungent flavor of dried shrimp. In the kismur, what I was tasting more was the smokiness of those tiny dried shrimps. But here, I'm tasting the full-on pungent flavors of the dried shrimps. With plenty of coconut. That's absolutely delicious. In fact, it's so delicious that one can almost make a meal of that with your rice. And also because the dry prawns have been rehydrated, there's also certain fleshiness to that bite. Of course, if you're a sort who doesn't fancy dry fish, dry shrimp, you may not get what I'm saying. But if you love your dry fish, I think this is certainly something that you should savor. The galmo. You know, a lot of the Kokni words are new to me. So please forgive me if I pronounce them wrongly. My heart's in the right place, but my tongue might have some trouble getting there. Delicious. I think let's go for that. Velio. The silverfish. Rava fry. Sort of fish that pleases especially a Mangalorean palate. I think what they're trying to do is showcase Goan cuisine, or let me put it, Hindu Goan cuisine in an interesting light. Now don't pull out your daggers just because I associated a community with a cuisine. But then if you think about it, that's what food is all about. Food draws from traditions, traditions draws from where people come from. And so every home, so if you come to Goa, you'll have a very distinct Goan Hindu cuisine, you'll have a very distinct Goan Catholic cuisine, which make use perhaps of the same spices, maybe similar spices, but the intensity of the spices may vary. They may use completely different ingredients altogether. The meats that go into may be very, very different. If you want to understand the cuisine of a place, of a state, you need to understand these communities and the kind of food that they do. And that's really when you will begin to understand food. Thank you. And some soul curry to finish. Thank you. What's your name? कहाँ से हो आप? असम से हो. Very good. Thank you. Alsande tonak.
You can have it with chapati or with rice.
With rice. We'll have it with rice since we already have some rice with us. The red beans and some potato as well. So I'm told the concept of a tonak is that in between all the other things you touch this to your mouth, is it?
Yes, that is served in a veg thali.
In a veg thali.
Along with the vegetable.
So if you're feeling guilty about eating too much fish, well, you got some of that alsande tonak to taste. This is excellent, huh?
It's rehydrated basically.
Yeah.
To make this very small shrimp. It's baby shrimp basically.
Same thing that goes to Kismoor.
Use either that or you can use normal prawns which are dried out.
Ah.
So again the coconut is cooked in such a way that it overpowers the fish smell of the dry fish since it's rehydrated. And kokum cuts out the
pungency.
Yeah.
But I still love that pungency of this.
Two varieties of predominantly chilies used in Goan. Herbal chili and one is kanpon chili. So we predominantly use something, a combination of both or mostly herbal.
Okay.
Which is like a small button chili.
In some more, galmo to even go with my alsande. So this is our first visit to Goa and we've gone largely by recommendations that we've received from our viewers. And Kokni Kanteen too came as a recommendation. Now this place is housed in a building that is about 60-70 years, but the eatery is only about 6 or 7 years old. But I think what's interesting is the work that Girish and Manisha are doing to showcase the cuisine traditions of the land, and in this case more specifically the GSB or the Goan Hindu cuisine. To wrap up things now with a soul curry. There's the kokum, I think they call it the agale, the kokum extract, and the coconut milk, the spiced coconut milk in that. Plenty of ginger, I think there's some garlic too, to round off your meal. You could also do it with a theeval. So if you're in Goa and want an insight into local Goan cuisine, or more specifically the Hindu, the GSB Goan cuisine, definitely find your way here to Kokni Kanteen. I think the entire experience in this environment is presented in a manner that makes it easy for non-Goans to understand as well. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Gourmet on the Road. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, stay strong, and happy eating. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Food Lovers TV, Do consider joining our membership community on YouTube by hitting the join button below or on the home page. You could pledge a nominal sum and receive special privileges like behind the scenes footage, shoot updates, access to live Q&As and a lot more. You could support us on our Patreon page as well. For more info, check out the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share and leave a comment below. Happy eating!